we are working with a 4th grade class at the local elementary school, and we're going to help them learn about the solar system. So my 11th and 12th graders have created model planets and a tour of the solar system with programming spheros, which are underneath their model robots, and they are going to help the 4th graders review the solar system. This astronomy class has been a long time program with working with the elementary schools. We've been doing it for 15 plus years. So our goal is to get the students to be engaged and to have real world experiences, things that they can actually get their hands on and understand the concepts at a much more meaningful level. So we have a driving question that we start off with, which is, for this project, how can you as a game designer design a game that depicts biogeochemical cycles, which is a big word, but it's scary. But if we take it and see and break it down and how they can create a game and make it fun, biogeochemicals are basically the water cycle and the rock cycle. And one of the cycles that they are demonstrating here with gears is the nitrogen cycle.
In other classes, it's just notes, and this is actually, you're doing like different labs and a lot of other stuff, so you can actually see visually how this affects the rest of the world. And also, Ms. Rediford, she does this really cool thing around the classroom where she puts every single unit we've done and how it connects to the next ones, and that's just really interesting to see.
Like, I really like it because like it's a spontaneous learning experience. Like, we all have a topic that we're going towards, but we're learning something new every day, and like we're doing hands-on projects like this, so we like understand the process of everything.
And also, everyone goes about it in different ways, so when you work with different people, you're able to see it from a new perspective or learn it in a different way.
We're putting together a project that demonstrates the movement of molecules, atoms in the system, so from the atmosphere down into the soil and back out, with gears. And so, yeah, they get to model it and demonstrate it and hopefully be able to better understand it at a more meaningful level.
The Algebra 1 class is structured as a way, we try to do a lot of very visual algebra. Our kids struggle to see what the algebra means, or they ask a lot of questions in terms of why is this important in real life. So we try to give them a more visual approach to algebra so that they can see what's going on. We use Desmos a lot, we use a lot of hands-on activities. We do a lot of variety in activity so that the kids are seeing math and doing math in a lot of different formats. We have 65 Algebra 1 students here who all work together. So we team teach with 3 math teachers, 1 special ed teacher, special ed assistants, and then we usually have practicum students involved in the class as well. In some ways it's not that different from a standard math class, but I think the approach in here is that kids can work at different paces. So we do have kids that are really fast at things, and so we kind of have some different activities that they can move into and do. And then we have some kids who take longer on things, and we give them the time and the space to do that as well.
I've definitely learned a lot more time management skills. I've even noticed like getting ready in the morning, I've been able to plan easier, I feel like, and deal with stress a lot better.
A few months ago, back in December, Katie Moran, who is one of the technology resource teachers for the county, came to me and said that Mrs. Eanes, the cafe students teacher, was in need of some sort of cash register device to help them with their cafe. She had been to my class a few months prior to that, helping me with something non-related, and saw that we were working on Scratch as part of class. She had just been to a workshop for Makey Makey and knew that they could be used together to make things like this, and kind of pitched the idea for this project as a way to bring our classes together, make a project that's more than just a grade in the grade book, a way to actually provide utility and create something useful for other students in the school community.
Does it show on here? So look at this. So how much did I owe? Well, don't press anything else that you're at. How much do I owe?
$2.
$2, and I paid you with?
$5.
So what's my change?
So your change are.
All right, so if I gave you 2 5s.
Uh-huh.
How much do you have to give me back?
13
Whoa,
cents.
so it did all that for you?
Yep.
Learn about good customer service, right?
Yeah.
What do you always do when somebody comes up to the window? What do you have to say?
How may I help you?
Yeah, that's good. And you always say thank you, and you give them their change, right? So
Are you
learning.
welcome back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Scratch is a code system of just take blocks and you put them together and you get your code.
Was it pretty simple to do?
No, I went home and cried a little bit at first.
I'm learning about the corfball one day I working and went down the line after high school.
So where did you start working, Chase?
I working at Costco.
Yeah. Do you think some of the things you learned at the coffee shop help you when you go to Costco?
Yes.
Yeah, like what?
Like how you pay in the cashier and help me to take an order and take the money and send them to your tips.
Yeah. Do you get tips at Costco?
Actually, no. Not yet.
I think it comes down to relationship, and you know, we try to talk about that with our people. I mean, we've developed, you know, an acronym for what we stand for with RCPS, Rockingham County Public Schools, and the R stands for relationship as one of our core values, because that's so important, and I think increasingly important with given some of the trauma and experiences, life experiences that our students bring with them to school every single day.
This station over here, Miss Moran, is also going to do a VR, if you guys have time, with volcanoes. So she's going to talk you through it. It's already set up, so you're going to get to be at a volcano and watch it and be involved in that. She's going to do the guiding on that.
So we try to do something hands-on and interactive every day. The project is a project-based learning class. So every unit, they have something at the beginning, it's like a driving question, something that they're going to create. So they can be thinking about that creation through the unit.
So we roll the dice and we see whether we go to the hydrosphere, biosphere, whatever, and we see how it differs from those other cubes.
We're going to create a game about like the different cycles, and so we like create our own board game and then we'll just play them.
Really, we're working on collaboration, we're working on thinking outside of the box, we're working on how to get a question, how to get a problem, and really pull in the need to knows and really figure out how to solve the problem through science.
Etymology. The word volcano actually comes from the Roman name Vulcan, which is the Roman god of crafting and fire.
Okay, so what we're going to do.
The ocean. I feel like I could touch it.
Virtual reality is one of the reasons I fell in love with technology in the classroom, because I could tell you about volcanoes, but to see it like this,
it's really cool.
It's way cooler.
So I think overall big picture for Rockingham County Public Schools was to transform public education. That was our initiative. We looked at the model of schooling that's been in place for over 125 years based on the Industrial Revolution, and we've said we need to change it because we're no longer in the Industrial Revolution. So how can we work to be thoughtful and to bring about change to a system that's very old and very established? So I think that was the big overall, and our superintendent, Dr. Scheiko, said, I don't want you just doing little things on the fringes. I want to make significant changes and innovations, right? And so the overall goal, though, is not to make changes just because we want to change, right? We have to prepare students for a world we don't even know what jobs they will have 15, 20 years from now, an age of uncertainty. So our education system needs to match that.
A couple of years ago when Rockingham County introduced the 5 C's as part of the lesson plan, and here at Elkton Middle we made that part of our lesson plan format that every teacher will use, it is my expectation that they are at least trying 2 to 3 in every lesson every day.
Right now students are learning on their own, and then I as the teacher can walk around and assist each individual student who needs assistance with something. So that way it's not me teaching an entire class of students, but rather me teaching individual students within a class.
So I'm doing George Mason, and like I'm pretending that I'm making like a tweet if he were doing it for the Constitutional Convention. So I'm starting on that.
About 2 weeks ago, did the American Revolution, and students used Ozobots, or Spheros rather, which are these small little spherical robots on the floor, and they had to go in the correct order of events, and then at each event, the Sphero had to do some type of activity that represented that particular event there. So I think that students learned that a whole lot better than having me stand in front of them and tell them about all the different battles and memorize the events and memorize the dates.
So many kids come to school and think, I'm never going to use this, I don't need it. And when we incorporate hands-on learning and integrate the content cross-curricular, that goes away and they realize I am going to use this, it is going to be fun, and the discipline doesn't happen. You know, they're too engaged to get in trouble.
So what happens if we turn it off? Do all the lights go off or just some of them? All of them. Exactly.
To do like electronic stuff in class, and it helps me learn. Like if I'm actually using hands-on stuff, it'll help me learn like with what that type of stuff is.
We made a music video. The first 9 weeks for civics, and then we got to show it, and we've done like a lot of video projects. We made a game show.
Well, I think anytime there's change, teachers are going to hesitate, a little bit because they're comfortable, and your veteran teachers have been doing something. They've had SOL scores that were favorable, and so change is hard. It's hard to get them to accept that change is okay. The biggest thing I did last year is I took away any teacher goal that was tied to student academic achievement through an SOL score. I wanted to see student academic achievement through learning and the desire to learn. And so that allowed for more hands-on projects and more performance-based assessments because the teachers weren't concerned with their end of the year SOL score being tied to their evaluation. I feel like the most important quality that a principal can have in dealing with their superintendent is to be real and be transparent. We're not going to be perfect. We're not going to always make the best decisions. But if I'm making decisions and changes and promote ideas and things that are in the best interest of students and kids, I don't feel like I can go wrong in that. And Dr. Scheichel is awesome in dealing with that. He supports us and gives us, actually he wants to push us to try more things. And the ability to do that makes us feel supported and know that he's got our back. And that just trickles down, that he's not asking me about my SOL scores. I don't think that he has ever mentioned them to me. Dr. Aldifer doesn't talk to me about them in my evaluation. We talk about student participation, student learning, but it has nothing to do with what one test score shows.